Okay, so now I'd like to look at 5 ways to kill a man in terms of the balance of opposites, the opposing features in the poem. Let's start by drawing a little balance here, the negative and positive sides. And on the negative side, you've got cumbersome ways of killing a man. There's crucifixion, there's jousting, there's gassing, there's nuclear warfare. And then on the positive side, apparently, we've got a simpler, direct and much more neat way, which is just leaving him in the middle of the 20th century. So that's the apparent balance of opposites. A contrast that seems to be between inefficient, that is, cumbersome ways of killing a man, and an efficient way, which is just to leave him in the middle of the 20th century, which is the time when the poem was actually written. Fair enough, but that's going to leave us with one or two little problems. The first problem that we're going to face is we have to ask ourselves, in what sense is just leaving a man a way of killing him? I mean, it won't kill him in the way that crucifixion or gas will, or something like that. So perhaps what the poet is actually saying is that living in the middle of the 20th century will kill not his body, but his spirit. Which then gives us another problem, but surely the poet can't be saying that killing a man's spirit is a good thing. So how are we going to think about all of this? We've got the negative side of crucifixion, jousting, gassing, nuclear bombs. The positive side, just leave the person in the middle of the 20th century. So apparently that's saying that killing the body is bad, and this neater, simpler, much more direct way of doing it, killing the spirit, is a good thing. But as I say, we've got the question, surely the poet can't really be saying that. Nobody would really believe that, would they? So how are we going to look at it now? The only other way of interpreting it is that killing the body is bad and killing the spirit is even worse. So that we're seeing a sort of progression in the poem from more and more complex, more and more cumbersome ways of killing a person until they finally hit a neat way, which is just kill his spirit. So the poem makes sense if we look at it like that, but it doesn't really come across as a very cheerful poem. It just shows human evolution as a process of finding more and more ways, putting more and more effort into destruction and killing. And is that really a fair way of judging humanity? Is that a fair comment on humanity? What do you think?